What if I told you there is one simple gardening method that can protect your plants, hold water in the soil, reduce weeds, feed earthworms, improve your harvest, and save you from a lot of hard work? And the strange part is this. Most people still do not use it, not because it is expensive, not because it is complicated, not because it needs machines, but because it is too simple. My name is Zion. I'm 55 years old, and after many years watching people fight with their gardens, I learned something very important. Nature never leaves the soil naked. Only humans do that. Look at the forest. Nobody tills the forest. Nobody removes every fallen leaf. Nobody fertilizes it every month. Nobody leaves the ground burning under the sun. And still, the forest grows strong, dark, moist, and full of life. Today, I want to show you a method that copies what the forest has been doing since the beginning. It is called deep organic mulching. And once you understand it, you may never look at bare soil the same way again. But stay with me, because there is one mistake people make with mulch that can hurt the garden instead of helping it. Before we begin, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. I cover the soil, because when you cover the soil starts working for you. Deep mulching is simple. You take organic material like hay, straw, leaves, or wood chips, and you place it thick on top of the soil. Not a thin little decoration. I'm talking about a real blanket, 6 inches, 8 inches, sometimes more. You do not dig it in, you do not mix it deep, you do not turn the soil upside down, you just cover the ground and let nature do the work. The worms come up, the fungi spread, the bacteria multiply, the moisture stays longer, the weeds struggle, the soil becomes softer. That is the power of mulch. Most people were taught that a good garden should look clean. Straight rows. Bare soil, freshly turned dirt, no leaves, no mess, but bare soil suffers. The sun dries it out, the wind steals the moisture, the heat stresses the roots, the soil cracks, the microbes slow down. Then people water more, weed more, fertilize more, and work harder. But the problem was not always the plant. The problem was the soil being exposed. The forest already knows this. Leaves fall, branches fall, grass dies, everything returns to the ground. That cover breaks down slowly and becomes food for the soil. Deep mulch brings that same wisdom into the garden. One of the people who helped teach this was Ruth Stout. She used spoiled hay in her garden for decades. The kind of hay farmers could not sell to animals. Most people saw waste. She saw soil. She piled it thick around her plants and stopped doing much of the hard work gardeners thought was necessary. Less tilling, less weeding, less watering, less back pain. And her garden kept producing year after year. That is wisdom, my people. Sometimes the answer is not doing more. Sometimes the answer is knowing what to stop doing. Another gardener, Paul Gauchi, became known for the Back to Eden method. He used wood chips to cover the soil, and over time, hard ground became dark, rich, and alive. That is what mulch does when you give it time. It does not just cover the soil, it feeds the soil. Now let me speak about the biggest fear people have. They say, Zion, won't wood chips steal nitrogen from my plants? This is called nitrogen robbery. And yes, if you mix fresh wood chips deep into the soil, that can become a problem. But when wood chips stay on top of the soil, it is different. The mulch breaks down slowly from the surface. The roots below are not robbed the same way. That thin place where mulch touches soil becomes a living zone full of fungi, bacteria, worms, and nutrients. So remember this. Keep woody mulch on top. Do not till it into your vegetable bed. Comment below. Keep it on top. That one rule can save your garden. Now let's talk about water. Bare soil loses water fast. You water in the morning, and by afternoon the ground is dry again. But under deep mulch, moisture stays much longer. The mulch blocks the sun. It slows evaporation. It keeps the soil cooler. It allows water to soak in. That means your plants are not constantly stressed. Tomatoes suffer less, peppers hold better, potatoes grow more calmly, a squash does not wilt as quickly. Many people think they have a watering problem, but sometimes they have a bare soil problem. If your garden dries out too fast, comment too dry, because deep mulch can change that. It also helps with heat. Plants need sunlight, yes, but roots do not want to be cooked. Bare soil can get extremely hot in summer. That heat stresses roots and weakens the life inside the soil. Mulch acts like insulation. It keeps soil cooler in hot weather and more stable when temperatures change. A plant with stable roots grows better, it flowers better, it fruits better, because it is not fighting stress all day. But the deepest miracle happens below the surface. Under mulch, the soil becomes alive. Earthworms come closer because it is dark, moist, and safe. They pull organic matter down. They leave castings. They make tunnels. They loosen the soil without destroying it. A tiller breaks soil structure. Worms build soil structure. That is the difference. Fungi also grow under mulch. They help break down wood and leaves. They help unlock nutrients. They connect life under the soil. Bacteria multiply. The whole garden starts becoming a living system. And this is what modern gardening forgot. Soil is not dirt. Dirt is dead. Soil is alive. If you want strong plants, you need living soil. Now, I want to be honest. Deep mulch is powerful, but it is not perfect. In wet places, hay mulch can attract slugs and snails. Sometimes mice or voles may tunnel underneath. If the mulch is too thick around small seedlings, it can smother them. And if you use bad material, like sprayed hay or chemically treated grass clippings, you can damage your garden. So use clean material. Ask where it came from. Was the hay sprayed? Was the grass treated? What kind of wood chips are they? Is it safe for food plants? Not all organic matter is good organic matter. That is wisdom. You can use hay, straw, dry leaves, wood chips, grass clippings in thin layers, or old clean plant matter. For vegetables, keep the mulch slightly away from the stems. Protect the soil, but do not bury the plant. For wood chips, use them mostly on top, around paths, perennials, fruit trees, and established plants. For hay or straw, start thick enough to block light from weeds. A thin layer is not deep mulch. A thin layer is decoration. Deep mulch needs depth. Because a forest floor is not one leaf. It is layers, old leaves, new leaves, twigs, moisture, fungi, life, layer upon layer. That is what we are copying. Now let's talk about weeds. Deep mulch will not stop every weed forever, but it can reduce them a lot. Many weed seeds need light to sprout. When the soil is covered, they do not get that light. And the weeds that do come through are usually easier to pull because the soil underneath is soft and moist. Compare that to tilling. Every time you till, you bring buried weed seeds to the surface. Then they grow, then you weed, then you till again, then more weeds come. That is a cycle. Deep mulch helps break that cycle. It says to the weeds, no light for you. And that is why this method is so powerful. Less watering, less weeding, less fertilizing, less digging, more soil life, more moisture, more protection, more harvest. Now ask yourself, why is this not taught everywhere? It's because there is not much profit in telling people to use free leaves, spoiled hay, and wood chips. There is money in fertilizers. There is money in herbicides. There is money in tillers. There is money in irrigation tools. There is money in selling products every season. But there is not much money in saying, cover the soil and let nature work. That is why some of the best methods are ignored. Not because they do not work, because they are too cheap to sell. Now, I am not saying you need to change your whole garden in one day. Start with one bed. Cover it properly. Watch what happens. Compare it with bare soil. Let the garden prove it to you. That is how I like to learn. Not just from books, from observation. In the first year, you may see some change. In the second year, the soil becomes better. By the third year, you may wonder why you ever gardened any other way, but you need patience. This is not fast food gardening. This is soil building. And soil building takes time. Comment below. I can be patient, because this method rewards people who know how to wait. Let me give you the simple rules. Cover the soil thick. Keep woody mulch on top. Use clean material. Keep mulch away from plant stems. Watch for slugs in wet areas. Replenish the mulch as it breaks down. Do not panic if it looks a little messy. Messy is not always bad. Sometimes messy is life working. A perfect bare garden may look clean, but underneath it can be suffering. A mulched garden may look wild, but underneath it can be full of life. And life is what we want. Imagine your garden 1 year from now. The soil is darker. The worms are everywhere. The weeds are fewer. The moisture lasts longer. The plants are stronger. The harvest is heavier. And you are not fighting the garden every day. That can happen, but it begins with one decision. Stop treating soil like dirt. Treat it like a living body. Cover it, feed it, protect it. And it will feed you back. Before you leave, hit the like button if this opened your eyes. Subscribe to the channel for more natural gardening wisdom, old methods, and food growing knowledge. And comment below, what would you use first? Hay, straw, leaves, wood chips? I want to know what you have available where you live. Share this video with someone who is tired of watering too much, weeding too much, and buying fertilizer every season. I'm Zion. I believe the forest has been teaching us the answer all along. The ground was never meant to be naked. Maybe it is time we stop fighting nature and start gardening with it. Blessings, my people. I'll see you in the next video.